Hello and welcome to September 2020, First Wednesdays, virtual edition. If you wouldn't mind, can someone just quickly in the chat let me know that they can hear me and we'll continue going? Just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, my name is Andy Heiss. I teach in the Block School in the Entrepreneurship Department. I'm also Managing Director in our Regnier Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. At this point, I would like to welcome the Director of the Regnier Institute and the Chair of the Entrepreneurship and Management Department, Dr. Jeff Hornsby.
Thanks, Andy, and it's great to be with you on our first Wednesday of this academic year. We are facing a lot of challenges this year, and we hope that these virtual First Wednesdays will be useful to you as we hold them the first Wednesday of each month during the academic year. I have the pleasure to serve as the director of the Regnier Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, where our mission is to spread entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurial mindset across the UMKC campus and into the Kansas City community. We're here for you. You're going to hear a lot about our programs that we offer, and we hope you are interested in getting involved. And this goes for any undergraduate or graduate student in the Block School or even around campus. I also serve as the chair of the newly named Entrepreneurship and Management Department. This year, Entrepreneurship and Management has come together as one department, again, with the mission of creating high-quality programs both in person and online, and serving students in a more coordinated curriculum. It's my pleasure again to welcome you, and now I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Dr. Hornsby. I'd like to take this opportunity just as a friendly PSA, just a reminder on how to be healthy and safety while on campus and in our community, especially with the Labor Day weekend coming up. I hope you all make good decisions and be courteous and safe. So let's get started. At the end of this presentation, you're going to get a link to download all of these slides. So if there's information on here you want to keep and I go too fast, you can have access to these slides once we get to the end. Additionally, if you're here for the extra credit, there will be a link for you to put that in at the end of the presentation as well. So I'm glad you're here. If you want the extra credit, you got to hang on till the end. So thanks for doing that. But I'm sure you're all here just to soak up all the information. So let's get rolling. The goal of today's program is to make you aware of all of the opportunities, most of the opportunities in which you can engage in entrepreneurship at UMKC, as well as some other block-related, block-sponsored activities. A little later, you're going to hear from three students who have done exactly that. They've taken advantage of our entrepreneurship programs, both curricular and co-curricular, and have done pretty well, I think. So you'll get to hear from them here shortly. Throughout this presentation, you're going to hear me talk about the Entrepreneurship Department, and you're also going to hear me talk about the Regnier Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, or RIEI as an acronym. Just so you know, just for your own knowledge, when we talk about the department, the Entrepreneurship Department, we're usually talking about classes and courses that are offered. So like the major, the minor, those sorts of things. When we talk about co-curricular programs and competitions and new venture creation programs, that's a function of the Regnier Institute. So just so you kind of have an idea of where, how those two things are sort of the same but different. But as you'll hear, a lot of us work in both. We teach classes and we work in the Regnier Institute, so we can answer questions about anything that you might have. One thing we do through the department and through the Regnier Institute is we have a common mission. And as Dr. Hornsby said, that's to accelerate early startups from ideas to sustainable launch in a safe environment of learning and experimenting and mentoring. We share, through that shared mission, our classes and our programs reflect that mission. Everything we do is here to help support you as a budding entrepreneur who has an idea how to get started. We want to help you do that. Before I go on to tell you about our academic programs, I'd like to introduce you to someone who not only has ample experience in corporate venture capital, but also owns a farm. I'd like to welcome Professor Pat Welsh.
Thanks, Andy. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Thanks very much. So as Andy mentioned, I had a lengthy career in corporate America and have had the good fortune, though, of joining the great team here at UMKC's Regnier Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. What I like to do in my classes is bring kind of a real world experience of the things that I've done. And I think you as students have had the very good fortune of working with some great people here. And the program is an unbelievably good program for you. I teach mergers and acquisition in the executive MBA program, corporate innovation in our PMBA program, and many financial courses at the undergraduate level. I also help out our e-scholars build their financial plans for their business. So please reach out if you want to discuss how to finance your business, understand more about the venture capital world, or any other financial or strategic questions that you might have. Thanks, Andy.
Awesome. Thanks, Professor Welsh. Quickly about our academic programs. Most of you are here because you're taking part in some piece of our academic programs. As it says on here on the slide, we offer degrees as a major, as an emphasis within the BBA program in the Block School. We also have a minor in entrepreneurship that's available to students outside of the BBA major. We also have an arts entrepreneurship program. It's available to anyone on campus, particularly those in the fine and performing arts. We also have an emphasis within the graduate program, as Professor Welsh just mentioned. He teaches in those courses. We've spent a lot of time in the past few years really developing a robust online program as well. Lucky for us, I shouldn't say lucky for us, we were somewhat prepared then for the scenario that happened in March. We were ready to go with our online courses because we put so much time into them. A lot of you are probably taking part in those this semester as well. And just know that we're always open to improving those, so don't hesitate to tell us how we can do a better job. Another program I want to make you aware of is the Summer Scholars Program. Just as it sounds, this is a summer program where you can earn 3 credit hours that count towards ENT 315. That's the Entrepreneurial Mindset and Opportunity Recognition course. So if you have questions about, or if you haven't yet taken that class, I recommend you look into doing that. And again, you can contact anyone on our team on how to get involved with that. Okay, next, I want to share with you, again, this slide will be available to you after the presentation, so you don't have to memorize it or anything. This is what we call the Entrepreneur's Guide to Success. We put this together because we wanted to demonstrate how we bring our programs and curriculum to life. So from freshman to senior year, this shows you how you learn the basics, you build your toolkit, and apply everything you've learned to launching your own business. This also shows that it's not just about the classwork, it's about our co-curricular, extracurricular programs that we offer that we hope you get involved in. It's just going to do nothing but help you get your business launched. And our goal is to meet you where you are in your journey. So whether you're brand new to business, you might not even be a business major, you've never taken a business course before, we've got a program or a course that can help you get where you want to go. And you'll hear more about some of these specific programs as we go on through this presentation. So in the Regnier Institute and in the Entrepreneurship Department, we know that entrepreneurs come from all disciplines, not just the business school. All kinds of different backgrounds, different passions, different interests, different things that you're interested in. So we have put together programs specifically to meet those needs of students from across campus. We've put together a CrossCampus Advisory Board. These are faculty, campus leaders who are involved in other areas outside of the business school who help us understand how we can help meet the needs of their students. We have a partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield to offer a special competition for healthcare businesses. We launched recently Entrepreneurship Toolkit, which is a course that's required in the minor in the Arts Entrepreneurship Program that's designed specifically for non-business majors. So if you've never taken a business class before, this is the class for you. New this semester is a Gen Ed course as well. It's critical thinking in the social sciences. So if you want to take a Gen Ed course that has an entrepreneurial bent, that's the one for you. Our Arts Entrepreneurship Program is a partnership with the Conservatory, but as I mentioned, it's open to any performing and visual artist. And we've also partnered with the Kansas City Art Institute, which is just a mile up the road from UMKC's campus, to develop an entrepreneurship minor for KCAI students. Okay, and before we continue on to the next part, I'd like to introduce you to someone who heads up our cross-campus initiatives. And he's by far the most physically fit person on our team. I'd like to introduce you to, by a long shot, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Tony Mendez.
Thank you, Andy. I don't know if I'm coming through clear, but
You look good.
okay. I'm not sure if I deserve the title of most physically fit, but at this point in my life, I'll take all the credit I can get. But yes, I've been at Regnier Institute at UMKC for about 5.5 years now. And I have the opportunity and the privilege of heading up our cross-campus initiatives. And what that means is, first of all, we know that entrepreneurs come from all disciplines. And when you take some of our courses, whether it's a gen ed course that we teach, or the other introductory courses that we have in entrepreneurship, or participate in some of our programs. You're going to hear a lot about our programs during this session. But you're going to notice that you will be with students from all disciplines, which is great because that's the way the world works. When you get out into the world, you're going to be working with people that have all kinds of degrees and experiences in life. So this is where the campus really comes together. And it's really built on a foundation of innovation, creativity, where you can express yourself, you can really explore interests that you have in life. And I know you're going to have a great opportunity here to study and learn about entrepreneurship. So thank you, Andy.
All right, great. Thank you, Dr. Mendez. Briefly, we have an arts entrepreneurship program, soon to be a certificate program, hopefully by next fall, 2021. It's 12 credit hours, can be done completely online. If that's something you might be interested in doing, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or Dr. Nick Petrella, who teaches in the conservatory. Again, that's open to any arts student or business student, any student that's interested in making a living or being a part of the arts industry. As I mentioned earlier, we also have a minor in entrepreneurship. This is an 18 credit hour minor open to non-BBA majors. 6 courses are required, 4 of which are common or core, and then you have 2 electives. And those electives can be super flexible. They can be ENT courses or pre-approved courses within your own major that relate to entrepreneurship. And again, this can be completed 100% online. And I'm happy to help you if you have any questions about that along the way as well. A brand new program this semester is our block Entrepreneurship Collaborative. This is designed to help and support entrepreneurs from underserved communities. What this does for you as a student, it provides you some coaching and training on how to be a business consultant. There's 3 main parts to it. You take a class on getting trained on how to be a business consultant. We connect you with some early stage entrepreneurs who you get to help and work with and help them get their business launched. And then that's followed up by doing an internship at one of the Kansas City entrepreneur support organizations, of which there are many. So there's lots of opportunities for you to get involved that way. The cohort for this year has already been selected and is underway. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you and you want to apply for next year, I encourage you to do so. And Ben Williams, who you'll be hearing from here shortly, is the person you'll want to contact about that. And I should mention that this program is funded by generous support from the Sexton Family Foundation and the Block Family Foundation. Okay, let's move on to some co-curricular programs. These are things that you can do outside of the classroom. A lot of you probably know Salim, or you've seen Salim. She's kind of our poster child, so to speak, of people who get involved in these co-curricular programs. Salim was involved in lots of activities. And as she says here, it's a way for her to apply her creativity in real-world projects working with teams. One way in which we do that here in the Block School and across campus is through the UMKC Enactus program, or student organization. So here's a quick video about Enactus. Oops.
Enactus is a worldwide organization focused on providing entrepreneurial solutions to problems all across the globe. Our projects seek to improve lives in a socially, economically, and environmentally sustainable way. Over the years, our team has created sustainable solutions for everything from plastic and food waste to education inequities and transportation issues. Each of our projects was created by a member based on their passions, and any member can start or join a project. As a member of UMKC Enactus, you will receive hands-on experience in entrepreneurship, marketing, and project management, as well as opportunities to work with top executives, government officials, and more, making our members top candidates for future employment. At the end of each year, our team presents our projects at national competition, competing against other teams from around the country to see who has made the biggest positive impact. This year, our team placed second out of over 400 teams. Join UMKC Enactus to be a part of an award-winning team and to do your part in changing the world.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's worth noting as well that the Enactus team is made up of over 100 students from all across campus. More than half of the members of Enactus are not from the business school. So that's something that sounds interesting to you. I invite you to reach out to one of the two dynamic duo leaders of faculty advisors of that group, Professor Ben Williams or Professor Aaron Blocker. And here they are.
Hi, guys. Thanks, Andy. I'm Ben Williams. I'm a managing director for the Regnier Institute and assistant teaching professor for the Department of Entrepreneurship. I get to work with the Enactus team every day, which is amazing. I highly recommend you get involved in Enactus or a student organization on campus just to get involved and build your skill set. Outside of Enactus, I also teach, this semester I'm teaching a special section of 315, Entrepreneurship 315, which is the Summer Scholars program, and the special section of Management 471, which is our block consulting course. And in spring, I'll be doing our Designing the Business Model course and our Entrepreneurial Experience course, which is sort of the capstone course for our entrepreneurship majors. So hopefully you'll get involved in something and check out one of the courses that I'm teaching. Thank you.
Great. And hi, I'm Erin Blocker. I teach business communication in the Department of Entrepreneurship and Management. And I'm also a faculty advisor along with Ben for the Enactus team. Enactus is really an impactful organization, and we'll hope that you'll take a chance to check it out and get involved. It's a great way to connect with others and build your skills, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. This year I'm really excited about seeing how we can keep our campus community connected using some of the digital tools like what we're doing tonight. So connect with Enactus, and we'll look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben and Aaron. Quick question for you. Is Enactus targeted towards undergraduate or graduate students allowed to join as well?
Yeah, anyone's allowed to join. Obviously, just with the makeup of UMKC, obviously the largest group is undergraduate students, but we definitely have MBA, master's level students. In fact, the vice president of Enactus right now is Peter Trin, a master's in computer science. We've had presidents of Enactus from the MBA program. We even had PhD students participate. So it is open to everyone that would like to participate.
Awesome. And do you guys have a meeting time yet?
Yeah, Tuesdays at 5:30. And I would recommend going to umkcenactus.org to find out more information on our meeting times, get the Zoom link, as well as find out more about the projects and the other ways you can get involved. And of course, see the presentation from last May that won the team second in the nation. Highly recommend that. But that's umkcenactus.org. Looks like Andy just posted that in the chat. So check that out if you're interested. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. Here we are, First Wednesdays. It's another tradition that we have in the Regnier Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Looks a little different this semester, but that's okay. We're continuing on with the tradition. It's just monthly meetings, the first Wednesday of each month, where we bring in community members, students of UMKC, Block alumni, Block supporters, all sorts of different people from the community. And we bring in a guest speaker, typically an entrepreneur who's well known in the Kansas City community. Today, you get to hear from 3 of your peers, kind of an overview of the programs and offerings that we have. But next month in October, we'll have a panel of women entrepreneurs from the Kansas City area that you'll hear from. More information on that coming up soon. Before we move on, I'd like to introduce you to someone who is sort of our behind-the-scenes guru who makes everything happen for us in the Regnier Institute and is by far the biggest Disney fan that I know, as you'll soon see. Laura, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Andy. My name is Laura Moore. I'm the program coordinator for the Regnier Institute, so I kind of help with all of these programs like First Wednesdays and others that Andy has described. I am in the office periodically now, so if you have questions or want to learn more about our programs, definitely come stop by or email us, and we're happy to help. I also have a background in nonprofits, so if that's something that you're interested in or want to talk about nonprofit careers, I'd love to chat with you about that too. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. Part of our co-curricular programs is we have student competitions, the main one of which is the Regnier Venture Creation Challenge. This is offered each spring, and this is an opportunity for you to showcase your venture and win cash prizes. So it is a competition. We typically have about 80, 85 entries, and we typically give away 3 to 4 cash prizes. So it is highly competitive. We bring in outside judges to make those determinations. And more information on the spring 2021 RVCC will be coming soon. We're in the planning phases now. It's hard telling what's going to happen between now and then, but we're trying to nail or smooth out some of those variables and figure out exactly what we're going to do. So more information on that coming soon. Next up, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our venture development programs. And these programs are headed up by a person who has a pretty good and not too bad jump shot. You may have seen him playing basketball in between the parking garage and the student union. I'd like to introduce you to the future Dr. Boots.
Thank you, Andy. And he mentioned a not too bad jump shot, but that also means a not that great jump shot also.
Not that good.
But be happy to take on anybody else whenever we're back on campus. As Andy mentioned, I'm Brian. I teach in the Block School here at UMKC, and I also help to lead our venture development programs within the Regnier Institute. And we have a portfolio of those programs. One of them, several of our speakers this evening, as well as several of our attendees this evening, as I can see in the attendee list, have been a part of, and that is our Entrepreneurship Scholars or e-Scholars program. It's a fantastic program to help you launch a new business or to flesh out the different details of feasibility of if we even want to actually launch a business in the first place. On the Block School side, I teach or have taught a number of different classes, but the class that I've taught the most often, in fact, I was doing a rough count earlier, and I think with this semester, I'm at about 20 different times that I've taught it now, is new product development, teaching that class this semester at the undergraduate and graduate levels. And so related to that, I'm definitely looking forward this semester to seeing the ideas that for products that come out of those classes from my students. There's always some really interesting and impactful ideas. And then also I'm looking forward to eScholars Demo Day, which is the big public celebration and sharing of what the eScholars work on over the course of a semester very intensively. And that'll be in December of this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Professor Boots. As he mentioned, we have our eScholars program, and this program is for you if you have an idea and you want to get started testing it out, preparing, just like he said. Part of that is you get connected with a mentor and you get help starting to build your network, along with a cohort of other like-minded entrepreneurs who are going through a similar thing that you are. You can take this for credit. You can take it not for credit. It's totally up to you. And the person who runs this program is the newest parent on our team. In fact, she's out right now on maternity leave this semester, but I have a quick intro of Alex for you here.
Hello, I'm Alex Matlack, and I'm the director of the Entrepreneurship Scholars program here at UMKC. I'd like to take a minute to tell you about it and hopefully encourage many of you to apply for it for this upcoming fall semester. If you have any inkling that you might like to be an entrepreneur someday, whether you have a specific idea or one that you might put together to participate in this program, we'd love to have you. Your company idea can be a for-profit, a not-for-profit, and we've created a program to make it possible to experiment in entrepreneurship and see if it's a path you'd like to go down.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Finally, I want to briefly introduce you to our mentor program. As I mentioned, in the eScholars program, you get connected with mentors. And our mentors help us do a lot of things, as you see here on the slide here in our programs. And you'll probably encounter a mentor at some point this semester in one of your classes. And the person that runs that program, I'd like to introduce you to him. And if you run into this person, make sure you ask him about his watch collection. So, Phil, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'd be glad to. Philip Goncher. I've been with UMKC now for about 12 years. And before that, I was in industry for a long career. I do have two roles. One of my roles is I teach graduate and undergraduate classes in entrepreneurship and management. One of my favorites is creativity and innovation, where we deep dive into design thinking and other methodologies to launch ideas and products. And then also, as Andy mentioned, I manage the mentor program. We have in excess of 100 mentors, closer to 150. And these mentors interact with students at all different levels. We have some of the programs listed on the slides, but essentially they're professionals from the community who many are active entrepreneurs that are here to answer questions and help you and guide you. We support the eScholars program very heavily, but we also support the students across campus. So thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Professor Goncher. Outside of the Regnier Institute programs, there are other block student organizations that you should definitely consider being a part of. One of them is the International Business Club. Let's learn more here through this video. And lastly, another student organization that you should consider is Delta Sigma Pi. Here's a quick informational video about them.
Delta Sigma Pi is a professional co-ed business fraternity here on campus. From professional networking to community service events to hanging out with brothers, Delta Sigma Pi connects you to the UMKC community and the Kansas City community as a whole. Outside of these things, a few of our brothers have taken the time to share what Delta Sigma Pi means to them.
I went to college because I wanted to make a positive impact in my community. And being part of Delta Sigma Pi made me realize that I wasn't alone in this pursuit. I particularly enjoy doing community service with my brothers. But most important of all is being part of a brotherhood that sees business as a way to reach out and touch people in need.
My name's Austin Skibby, and I'm a senior here at UMKC, and I joined Delta Sigma Pi just about a year ago when I transferred here. I have to admit that I think it's the best decision that I've made since coming onto campus, and the reason for that is Delta Sigma Pi represents a group of people that, to me, are very respectful, intelligent, inclusive, and diverse.
Joining Delta Sigma Pi connected me with business majors all across UMKC, which bettered my study habits, gave me important info on the classes I was going to take, and even saved me a bit of money on my textbooks. In addition, Delta Sigma Pi has so many connections to different employers across Kansas City. I was actually able to land my first internship with Lockton Companies because of someone that I knew within the fraternity. It's been an invaluable experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
If you're interested in Delta Sigma Pi, don't hesitate to fill out an application or email us at umkcdsp@gmail.com.
Okay. So that was a whirlwind introduction to all of the programs and academic co-curricular programs that we offer at the Block School that have to do with entrepreneurship and other student organizations. Now on to the main event, tonight's panel. You can submit any questions you may have about the panel or about any of the programs that you saw through the Q&A at the bottom of your screen there. And we'll do our best to answer those. And so at this point, I'm going to turn it over to the very talented Emily Testerman to be our moderator and to introduce our student panelists.
Thank you. So as Andy said, my name is Emily Testerman. I'm a senior here at UMKC studying finance. I'm also a student ambassador for the Regnier and have been active in Enactus. So now that I've kind of introduced myself, if each of our panelists, starting with Ten and ending in Grace, if you could each introduce yourself and kind of describe what you've participated in here at UMKC and what you're majoring in.
For sure, I can start us off. So I graduated from the Block School in 2017 with my BBA. And then in 2019, I came back to do my MBA, and currently I'm an MBA student. Hopefully going to be finishing my MBA degree by next year, May next year.
Janae, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm currently a student and athlete here, so I'm on the women's basketball team, and I'm also currently pursuing my BBA with an emphasis in entrepreneurship. And some of the things that I've participated in will be the Scholars program and also the RBCC competition.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grace. I am majoring in music therapy, and I am minoring in entrepreneurship. And I have been involved in many organizations outside of the Block School, but I have also participated in a lot of the past First Wednesdays.
Cool. So each of you are here because you're very active in the entrepreneurial community here at UMKC, and a lot of you want to start a venture or already have started a venture. So if each of you could go through and describe the venture that you've started or a venture that you plan to start and how you kind of came up with that idea. Anyone who want to start in particular?
I can start. I'm actually currently working on a venture, and I have one. So my company is called Interplay, and we're working towards automating pet interaction by providing dog owners with an automated dog crate. So with the Interplay dog crate, dog owners will be able to dispense food and water to their dog, see and talk to their dog, and open and close the crate from their phone while they're away from home.
And how did you come up with that idea?
I was a pet owner who's had this problem. So I already kind of had the idea in the works from a project that I was working on senior year in high school. And when I came in freshman year, I had a pet hamster. And it solidified the idea that I needed to be able to operate and interact with my pet while I'm away, because I was busy being a student and an athlete away from home all the time. And I'm like, I need to be able to feed it or do something to it while I'm away.
Thank you. Ten, how about you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to work this out chronologically. So when I was a student at the Block School for undergraduate, I went to Ben's Summer Scholars Program. And that was my first official and academic exposure to entrepreneurship. That's when I learned about the lean startup methodology. That's when I learned about the business model canvas, the lean canvas. right? And then during the Summer Scholars program, which was a 2-week intensive entrepreneurship training, my team in the class came up with an idea for a tech product, specifically a platform for small business owners to create video games for their marketing purposes, right? So that was the idea. And then I was able to take that idea from the Summer Scholars program into the eScholars program, which Andy already talked about earlier today. And then during the eScholars program, I was able to take the idea to a grant program in Digital Sandbox. It's called Digital Sandbox, and I believe it's also technically under UMKC, right? And it gives entrepreneurs up to $20,000, or at that time, $25,000 to basically build out what they call the proof of concept product, right? And we were able to do that. And then we took the product and kind of tested it out in the market, got good feedback, and then we ran the venture for a year. And then kind of fast forward a little bit, when we came out of the academic cocoon, right, and go into the actual market and try to compete, it was tough, right? And then eventually we failed, and that was devastating to me and my team, but it actually gave us a lot of lessons that we could use toward the second and third venture that we started. So fast forward until today, the third venture, which is also my current venture, is a software development agency who works with a lot of early stage entrepreneurs to build their minimum viable products, which was also a concept I learned in the Summer Scholars program 5 years ago. And we've been doing this for the past 4 years. We collectively helped the 40 plus ventures that we worked with raise over $1 million. And it's been fun. And we've been, building like apps and web apps and different SaaS ideas for these tech entrepreneurs. So it's been a long path since 5 years ago in the Summer Scholars program.
Oh, cool. Grace, do you want to go ahead and talk about the venture that you hope to start one day?
Yeah. So as a music therapy major, my future goals, endeavors would be to start a private practice where I don't only employ music therapists, but expressive art therapy, different therapists such as art therapy, dance therapy, anything you can think of that could be expressive arts, and using the knowledge that I have gained from my entrepreneurship minor.
Cool. So I'll go ahead and ask you kind of a follow-up question. As a non-major or a non-entrepreneurship major, what made you realize that you wanted to pursue entrepreneurship?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it actually started when I took it was Anchor 3 class, the arts entrepreneurship class. And it kind of sparked my interest in that. I feel like all conservatory, like art majors need to kind of have that background of an entrepreneurial mindset, because a lot of us will be kind of making our own paths, whether you want to maybe be a freelance performer, whether you want to maybe do music lessons. Like, you're always going to have to be creating something new for yourself as a performer or an artist. And so I think it's just very important to have that knowledge and that background. And so that's definitely what made me want to kind of pursue this entrepreneurship minor. And then ever since kind of declaring the minor, it's what has sparked my interest in starting this new private practice. So yeah.
Cool. So Janae and Tin, what kind of brought you to entrepreneurship as a field of study?
Well, for me, I personally always had the entrepreneurial spirit growing up. So when people were saying they wanted to be doctors or police officers or anything, I'm growing up saying I want to own my own company. At the time, of course, I didn't know what company it was going to be, but I just knew it was going to be mine and I was going to start it from the ground up. And throughout grammar school and elementary school, I started off selling, like making bracelets and then selling them to friends and family, whoever wanted to buy them. I custom made the designs. And then going into middle school, I started selling fruit snacks. So I had a very lucrative snack company, or little business, I guess you can say, being a mini entrepreneur. And then that's in high school, I had a few ideas. And then that's actually when I came up with the dog crate. So it's been a journey.
Kind of a lifelong entrepreneur, it sounds like.
Yes.
All right, Tin, how did you come to study entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so my story is pretty similar to Janae's. So I grew up seeing my parents just building the family business from the ground up, right? And also my uncles, they were also partnering with my parents to build businesses. And I think the spirit has been kind of passed to me like a torch since I was little. And when I came to the Block School, I saw the path to actually put that spirit and direct it into executing on an idea that I came up with, right? Even though I failed like a couple of times, but I was able to pick myself back up and, build something that actually works, that survived the first year and then slowly grow over the next 3 years, right? So kind of third time the charm for me. I failed the first two and then the third one works out.
So Janae, you've participated in our Entrepreneurship Scholars program. Can you kind of describe how that opened up other opportunities in Kansas City for you and what that experience was like?
It has opened up in a significant amount of opportunities that I really didn't imagine that I could be a part of going into the program and starting the program. So coming out and, being a part of the entrepreneurial community here in KC, when I mentioned that I was part of the e-Scholars program, I did not realize how big the alumni system was. I hear a lot of people, I went through e-Scholars, or, it's a very respected program, so they already kind of have expectations from me or already know what I'm capable of just because I went through the e-Scholars program. So it's been very advantageous for me sprouting out and getting involved in the community.
Cool. And Tin, you also participated in the e-Scholars program as a student, as a guest speaker, and even created a tech track for students starting tech ventures. What made you want to continue participating in that program?
Right. Yeah. So traces back to the roots of it all. Right. So I, started my first venture from the e-Scholars program. Right. That venture, even though it failed, gave me a lot of really important lessons that I took into my second and third venture. And then when Ben Gruber and I believe Ben Williams here, when they invited me back to contribute to the e-Scholars program, I mean, it just made sense, right? And then I worked with Troy. I think he is the OG e-Scholar because he was in the first ever e-Scholars program. And I get to work with him to build out the tech track of the e-Scholars program. And that was like the first time that the tech track existed. So it was an exciting project for me. So yeah, it made sense and it was an exciting project. So I just took it on and it was a cool, like 1 semester course. I believe Janae was one of the participants in that program of that cohort specifically.
That's cool. You got to see kind of all sides of the program. Grace, as someone who is studying in a different school at UMKC, you've also had the experience of taking different entrepreneurship classes. Can you kind of tell me what your favorite entrepreneurship class you've taken so far is, and what's a class that you're excited to take this semester?
Yeah. So my favorite entrepreneurship class I've taken is that new product design class that Professor Boots actually mentioned earlier. It was really fun because we got to make hands-on actual products and share them with the students in the class. And we all got to kind of comment on each other's like physical products. And that was really awesome to actually be able to see something that you created like with your own hands. And the class that I'm most excited for is actually a class that semester. It's the Principles of Arts Business. And so it's that first class that Andy mentioned earlier for that arts entrepreneurship kind of degree. And so that's what I'm really excited for, to kind of find an entrepreneurship class that is geared specifically towards me as a conservatory major, and see what more knowledge I can learn from that class.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting to see the overlap between both of your fields of study. Janae, you participated in our Regnier Venture Creation Challenge and got to pitch to a lot of different groups of people after that. How did you benefit from the Regnier Venture Creation Challenge in future pitches?
So I've actually participated in it twice. I participated in 2019 when it was in person, and I also participated in this year when it was virtual. So I feel the in-person one really prepared me, because that was my first ever pitch competition experience, pitch experience at all. So it was all new to me, but it was something that I really needed to be a part of and that I learned a lot and gained a lot of experience from. So that really set the foundation for me moving forward into going in presenting and pitching into these other pitch competitions as well. And some of the compliments that I've received is how good of a pitcher I am, or how well put together my slide deck is. And I have to give that credit to the eScholars program, and that also participating in the RVCC competition. So I have to give credit to where credit is due, and that's been a major part of my success. And I also recently just won the Pitch and Pint competition with KC's Collective. So it's all starting to pay off.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tin, you participated in the Summer Scholars program, and I think you were actually part of the first group in that program. So can you kind of describe what you got from that program and why other students should join it?
The Summer Scholars program, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we got to see the community and specifically the startup ecosystem. And back in the days, I don't think it exists anymore, but back in the days, there was something called the Startup Village. And I think Ben and Dr. Mendez took us to visit the Startup Village. And then we were able to talk to a bunch of entrepreneurs, right, who were doing really cool things. And one of them was the founder of iVerify, who the company which was acquired by Alibaba for $105 million back in 2016, right? So that's the caliber of entrepreneurs we got to meet with, even though we were only sophomore in college, right? And then that basically exposed us to the possibilities, right? Just kind of showed us what's possible if we actually work on our ideas and actually pursue them, right? So I think that for me was the number one value statement for the Summer Scholars program, is exposing the students to the resources in the startup ecosystem that KC has, and there are a lot. So if we can share screen, or Emily, if you can share screen or shoot a link, I'd say you guys should all look at the KC SourceLink resource rail, because it's a very extensive, very visual map of all the resources that you can take advantage of as an early stage entrepreneur in KC, but also kind of in Missouri and in Kansas, right? So really important to know that all these resources are out there, so you know which one are going to be applicable to you, which one you can actually use to basically build your venture on top of.
Well, thank you. And it looks like Laura put the link to KC SourceLink in the chat if anyone wants to take a look at that. It's definitely a great resource. My next question is going to be for Grace. When we just talked earlier, you had a lot of suggestions for how students can stay connected, especially online. Would you go ahead and kind of share your tips and tricks for staying connected and making those connections while we're online?
Sure. I will be honest, it is a little bit more difficult to stay connected virtually, but I think it's just important to interact with your fellow colleagues. by keeping your cameras on and always participating in discussions through your class. I think that's going to be the most important, is just participating in your class, because you won't just learn, but you'll also connect with your colleagues in that class. But also, even though we are mostly virtual this semester, that doesn't mean that you can't get involved in our 300 plus organizations on campus. And so I know at the beginning of this, we did list just a few of the organizations that you can get involved in, but there are so many more as well through our Office of Student Involvement. And so if you're interested, definitely check that out. A lot of the organizations are holding virtual events this semester, and so there's still a way to kind of find your niche and find your place here at UMKC.
Thank you. That's really good advice. Definitely get involved. I highly recommend that as well. We do have a few minutes left, so I want to go ahead and make sure I get to an answer that was in the chat. Jacob Diaz wants to know, what were your first steps in reviewing your business model once noticing a lack of desired results when starting up, if you encountered any? And I think that would be a good question for Tin, as you've gone through a few different venture models.
Right, and I failed a couple of times too. So I'd say just do it, right? So there are some tools that help you visualize your business model, like the business model canvas, or the upgraded version of that is the lean canvas. And then just, they lay out the different components of your business, and then you are going to go and actively test each of those components, right? And then, of course, there are instructions on which one to test first, which one to test later, right? And the most important ones are tested first, like, is there a need in the market? Do the customers actually experiencing the problems that you think they're experiencing? And is your product a vitamin or is it a painkiller, right? If it's just a vitamin, it's not necessary. It's nice to have. But if it's a painkiller, then, that's something that you can definitely sell for a lot and sell on a very consistent basis if you are identifying and addressing the right pain points. So experiment, right? If you run into walls, just pivot a little bit. That's a very important concept in entrepreneurship, is to pivot a little bit and then just keep going in the same direction that you're going, but just slightly different, so that you eventually gonna find out what's the right combo of all of these components. And I believe that in the business model canvas or in the lean canvas, there are 9 components that are very intertwined, and you just need to test each of them. And that's my advice.
Cool. So I think we have time for probably these next 2 questions. The first one is kind of a quick question. Janae, what was the competition that you won called recently?
It's the Kansas City Collective's Pitch and Pint. So that was actually their second time having it, and it's relatively new. But KC Collective is an organization that you can join once you have a company or startup. A lot of early stage ventures are a part of them. And it's really where I started most of my networking into these events and becoming really involved in the entrepreneurial community here in KC.
And they also want to know, since you're a student athlete and a founder, how do you kind of balance all of that and make sure that you're doing everything that you want to do without getting burnt out?
It's hard. It's challenging at times. Sometimes I have a few sleepless nights, but in all, based on some of these successes and opportunities I've been presented with, it's definitely been worth it. And I can't say me majoring in entrepreneurship and having that as my area of emphasis has allowed me to successfully do both. So it's been times where my assignments in class will be to work on my company, or assignments for my venture. So I'm developing my company, but also getting credit for class at the same time. So that's been an advantageous factor as well.
All right. And I think this will be our last question for anyone who wants to answer it. What's been the hardest or most challenging part of deciding to pursue entrepreneurship?
I say for me is not knowing. So not knowing if people are really going to buy the product you have, or not knowing if it's really worth all your time, and if all of your energy and all the obstacles, overcoming everything, is essentially really going to pay off. I say that's been one of the hardest and most challenging things for me.
Yeah, definitely. All right. If anyone has any last things to add, if anyone wants to answer that question, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so just to add on to Janae's point, I believe that uncertainty is definitely really painful, right? And in order to kind of actively address that pain, you, again, like the same advice that I gave in the earlier question is to just do it, right? To kind of actively think about why are we experiencing uncertainty? What type of uncertainty is this? Is it like a qualitative uncertainty? Meaning is, the customers, are the customers liking our product? So that's qualitative. Or is it quantitative uncertainty? Meaning, do we have the right amount of daily active users? Do we have the right amount of logins per day? Or do we have the right number of people using our product on a consistent basis? So if you can kind of structuredly think about how to peel away the layers of some uncertainty, then I think that's how you'll be able to address it. And that's how you'll be able to navigate the hardest part of entrepreneurship, which is uncertainty.
All right. Thank you so much to our panelists. You had so many great insights on entrepreneurship and on being a student during this time. And thank you to all the people who asked questions. I'm going to pass it off to Andy to lead us out.
Thank you very much, Emily, and thank you to our panelists, our awesome students. I'm so proud of everything that they've done and glad that they're here with us at UMKC. And now the other moment that you might have been waiting for is our extra credit link. If you are seeking extra credit for this attendance today, just go to that URL there, tinyurl.com/SeptFirstWed, September 1st, Wednesday. Fill that out and we'll pass that along to your instructors and make sure you get your extra credit. Also, there's the link to download these slides that we just went through. And our next first Wednesday is October 7th at 5 p.m. Same place, different link. There's the link right there. You can sign up and register so you get the notifications for when that's going to happen. And like I said, that's going to be a panel of women entrepreneurs in Kansas City. Really looking forward to that. So with that, that's all we have for you today. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you in October.